Hi there. You are here because you have purchased your very own Make Your Own Reckless Spirit bracelet kit. Congratulations. The fun begins. Anyway, with your kit, you are going to receive enough beads and elastic cord to make a 7-inch bracelet, which is sort of the average size bracelet. You can make it smaller, and if you needed extra beads, people have reached out during time of ordering, as I've mentioned, to do that and gotten extra beads. But regardless, you have everything you need to make the bracelet, and then they each come with a set of instructions on how to make the bracelet, and then there's also instructions on how to tie a surgeon's knot. Now, the surgeon's knot is how we finish off the bracelet, and that I did in a separate tutorial. So that's a whole other video that you've got. So this one we're just going to focus on making the bracelet itself. Before you get started, I usually recommend having a few items on hand. One is some kind of a cloth mat of some kind. I use one that I picked up from the store. It's kind of a felt mat, but if you have a piece of felt at home, a fabric of some kind, something, you could even technically use a paper towel, truthfully. You just want something so that the beads don't roll while you're working with them. So I suggest setting up a mat of some kind. Then you're also going to want some kind of a clip, something to secure the end of your stretch cord, which comes in the bracelet kit. That's what obviously you're going to be using to make your bracelet, because on the cord you're going to want to clip the binder clip, or you could use a paper clip. I don't really recommend paper clip, but it would work, I suppose. The other option would be like a Scotch or a masking tape, because it doesn't stick as much as the other tapes. And you take a piece and you would tape it to the end and kind of fold it over, and then you'd have that. You just need something to secure to the end of your piece of cord so that your beads don't slip off. Like I said, my favorite is the binder clip, so I tend to use that, and you can use any size binder clip, truthfully. So you need a mat, you need something to clip onto the end. Some people like to use glue at the end. We really like E6000 glue. That is not necessarily needed if you're going to be doing the surgeon's knot, because that should be enough, but some people like to put glue on for added security. You'll want a pair of scissors, and then a ruler, if you have a ruler, so you can kind of keep track of what the length of your bracelet. And then I usually recommend to people, if you have a tape measure, to measure your wrist. Now, if you don't have a tape measure, you can take like a piece of string. So for example, I've got yarn here. You just take a piece of yarn, and you would take the end of the yarn. Of course, I can't find my end right now, but you would take your end and you could measure that, and then take, obviously from your end to where you measured, you'd put that up against a ruler, and you could see how big your wrist is. The whole thing in measuring the wrist, like I said, 7 inches is usually an average size. The whole thing with measuring your wrist is people have different preferences. I don't like anything tight. So for me, my wrist measures 6.5 inches. So I prefer a 7-inch bracelet because I like it to dangle just a little bit. I don't like the tightness, but some people prefer it more snug, which is okay. But that's kind of why you like to gauge the size of your wrist so you know when you're done and when to start tying. So anyway, so to measure your wrist, obviously you would just take your tape measure, and you would just secure it like this in place, and check your measurements. So once you have everything ready to go, you take your beads, and I'm going to move the computer so you can see my mat here. Okay, and you can see what I'm working with, and I apologize, I don't know if the lighting's horrible, but anyway, with your beads, you dump them out of your package, you've got your kit, or your instructions. The instructions will tell you step by step which bead to put on next and how many of each. So follow that. That will explain. Now, if you did buy one of the kits that's the create your own style, you'll end up getting a package of just random beads and spacers, and you design what you want. So there is no step-by-step instruction on how to create your design, because you're creating it yourself. And oh, by the way, even though you've ordered a specific bracelet and you've got the beads to make that, if for some reason you want to put your own twist on the design, it's perfectly okay. Anyway, so let me go back to here so you can see how to do your bracelet. So you're going to take your cord. The first thing you're going to do, you've probably noticed sometimes when you buy a stretch bracelet from places, sometimes they stretch out over time. The reason is it's just the nature of elastic cord. So what I recommend to people to do is to take your cord and stretch it ahead of time. Just stretch it so that you kind of do the stretching in advance, so then it doesn't stretch out on you over wears. And the other important thing I tell people is, let me grab my example here. When you have a stretch bracelet, to put it on, I recommend rolling it on and rolling it off. If you stretch to put it on, just the nature of the cord, it's going to not have as long of a life for you. So anyway, back to your cord. You've got your cord, you've stretched it out. Then you put your stabilizing piece on the end. So like I said, I really like using binder clips, but if you don't have one, don't worry. Tape is fine, whatever you have. So you put that on there, and then you can start beading. Now, some people like to take their beads and line them up, based on first go through your design, and line it up. And especially this is true if you've got one of the kits that's kind of a create your own, where you become the designer. People like to line it up because if you don't like the pattern you've got going, you can just move it all aside and start over again. But like I said, some people like to take and you read your instructions and you go and place each bead in based on what the instructions are saying, and then you've got your order. So again, depends on what you prefer. Some people start immediately stringing on. So each bead will have a little hole in it. You can't really see it in the video, but you're just going to put the string through the bead, and you're just going to keep beading until you've completed your design. Okay, so you're just basically going to keep going and adding your beads on. And like I said, I've given you instructions on how to create a specific design based on what you ordered, but if you really like something else, have fun with it. You don't have to follow my instructions. And then I've also said that you can do if you wanted to do a charm, you can order the charm. The charms will come on a jump ring, and the jump ring will slide on just like a bead. You'll see there's a little hole in the jump ring. You're going to slide it right through that. No different. So then once you've gotten all your beads on, and I don't know how to do a fancy video where I can fast forward, so I'm not going to bead the whole thing for you. But basically, once you've got your beads on, if you're not sure, then you can measure it. First of all, you can measure it up to here. So let's say the wrist measured 6.5 like mine. You can bead all the way up to the 6.5 mark. Your beads will reach to here. And then if you like it snug, then leave it at 6.5. Otherwise, you can go to the full 7. And then once I have my bracelet strung, sometimes I will wrap it around my wrist just to kind of see, after I've got all the beads on, keep in mind. And then I can kind of see where I'm at and how the feel is and everything. Do not remove your end clip until you are ready to tie, because obviously everything will slip off. So once you've beaded to your desired length, then you're going to tie the surgeon's knot. And like I said, I've got a separate tutorial on the surgeon's knot, so I'm not going to go into that on here. But when you go to do that, okay, I took this off too quick. So when you go to tie your knot, shift the beads so that they're kind of in the center, all your beads, and then take your clip off so that you don't have, it won't slide off the end then. So then at that point, you're going to be ready to tie, and you can go to my other video, which will show you how to tie. And I think I've covered every piece. If you have any questions, email me at recklessspiritjewelry.com. I usually really good about responding pretty quickly. And I think that's it. So have fun with it. Enjoy it. Come back for more. I've had a lot of people who have actually done these in groups. So they buy them for their friends. It's almost like a paint and sip type party, but virtually you can do it, especially given the time that this is launching. Most, if not all of us, are in quarantine. And so a lot of people are doing virtual happy hours, and they're doing fun activities with friends, family, coworkers, etc. So you can each get a bracelet kit, pour yourself a glass of wine, pop whatever your poison is, and just connect and have fun. Like I said, it's a great opportunity, and you don't have to be a jewelry designer to do it. That's kind of the great part. So anyway, I think that's everything. If you have any questions, please email me. Stay safe, enjoy, have fun. Love you all. Talk soon. Bye for now.